And to explain to you how we did it, one of our first clients from Microsoft, Grad was the CMO at Microsoft. Please join me in welcoming our CMO, Grad Conn.
Thank you. Perfect time. I didn't get any cool entrance music. But you know, today is my 1-year anniversary of Sprinklr. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes or so just to talk about a story of digital transformation and front office transformation inside Sprinklr. You know, I had some advantages because I came on board as someone who'd been using Sprinklr for a long time, one of Sprinklr's first customers at Microsoft. And the first meeting I had was with Luca Lazzarone, who's our CRO. And I said to Luca, tell me a little bit about the marketing department. You know, how do you think about the marketing department in terms of your role as a sales leader? And Luca, who's Italian, I'm not going to attempt to mimic his accent, but in a great Italian accent, Luca said, I try to think about marketing as little as possible. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you don't do anything to help me. We just ignore marketing. So I started digging into what was going on, and my team the team I inherited was running a very traditional demand gen funnel. The typical demand gen funnel you always see, using the typical tools that you always see, and getting the typical results. And you often see this, where you see sales in conflict with marketing. Salespeople saying, you're not giving me anything that's useful, your leads are garbage, and the marketer's saying, why don't you love me, and how come you aren't following up on my leads? And so we had the exact same situation everyone else had. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting opportunity for me to try to really change things. Because I had, over time, started to lose my religion on the marketing funnel. And you know, I actually introduced Marketo to Microsoft. Like, I brought that in. I built that out. And at some point, I started to wonder whether pissing off 1 million people to get 100 leads was really a good idea. I hear a few. Who thinks it is a good idea? Just double checking on that. Not all of you responded to that. Okay, few people think it's a good idea. But that's really what marketing is most times these days, right? You send out 1 million emails with some sort of tricky headline, gets people to sort of accidentally open it, piss them off. Maybe you trick 10,000 people. Then you get about 1,000 people maybe opening it, and maybe 100 people might do something. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Spending all that money at the top of that funnel to get so few people at the end of it. So I'm going to talk about how we sort of went around changing that. So let me talk a little bit about what Sprinklr was, just so you understand sort of what I had to work with. So Sprinklr's one AI cloud. Raji talked about this. What's important to know is it's got 5 products inside it on the core platform. And those 5 products essentially encompass everything you need for the front office. And the front office is all the functions of the company that face the customer. Now, Sprinklr is specifically focused on modern channels, but that seemed like an okay place for me to be because modern channels are what we're all about. And it allowed me to sort of engage, personalize my advertising, do real-time marketing, do actionable research, and then be proactive on care. And I'll talk more about care in a moment because that's super important. The other thing about Sprinklr that I liked when I bought it at Microsoft is that it's all built for the enterprise. We don't work with anyone under $1 billion in revenue. So as enterprise grade, it's a product that is least likely to get you fired. That I think is always helpful. So let me talk about what we did in marketing operations. So the first thing we did is we started moving everyone off the existing tools into Sprinklr. This is an interesting chart. This is, I just took this out of the application the other day. And these are logins by department. Now typically when you think front office or when you think MarTech, you think, well, all these logins should be the marketing department. Well, if you look at this, if you can see, it's support is number 1, customer care, then success, then R&D, then sales, then marketing. We're 5th on the list in terms of logins. Now, we use it all the time, but the rest of the company is using it as well. And the sort of the core insight here is that everyone in the company needs to be working against the customer. But if you don't have one platform for the whole company, it's very hard to do that. And so that was the first sort of thing we started seeing the benefit of. Because if you think about how operations works, it touches on everything. It touches on all sorts of different functions. And so what we did is we set up a sort of a global infrastructure, which we sort of called SMILE. So we're all about happiness. And SMILE uses a vendor network and a bunch of associates to build sort of a centralized follow-the-sun service. It's got a collaborative strategy, and we've sort of taken the idea of silos and moved that into a concept of having everyone in one team. And so, and then these are all the sort of the functions that you typically see in marketing operations and in operations generally in an organization that's in the front office. And all those map to one of the 5 Sprinklr products. And that's really how we sort of drove digital transformation in the company. Now, the key thing to sort of start with is we really had to make sure we got our pipeline under control. And as the CMO, my one number is our pipeline number. And what's a little bit different about us is that inside sales reports into the marketing department, and our output is visible opportunities. And the output of marketing at Sprinklr is not leads or some kind of marketing metric like MQLs. It's actually visible opportunity, which is a handshake between sales and inside sales. So what it does is it's eliminated the conflict you normally see between sellers and marketers, because what we're producing is actually what they need, and it's the pipeline we run the company on. So we built this system called social ABM, or social account-based marketing. And I want to talk a little bit about sort of how social ABM generates pipeline. It's based on this core assumption that we live in a strangerless world. This is where I come back to the marketing pipeline. So the marketing funnel. The marketing funnel is core conceit is that we live in a world of strangers, and we have to trick them into talking to us. The reality of the world we live in is that, especially in B2B, although it's true everywhere, you actually know the companies that you want to talk to. We have 6,000 companies that we believe should be Sprinklr customers. And I can actually profile the 10 to 17 economic buyers and influencers in each one of those companies, and I can follow them, and I can actually target them. I don't need to trawl programmatic display ads through or buy lists or kind of trick people with giant email blasts. I actually can follow the people that I want to talk to directly. And so what we do is we actually build these sort of listening queries, and we identify all the key players that we want to talk to, and then we work across the sales team, the inside sales team, and the CXC team, I'll explain that in a second, to essentially surround the target with communication. So inside sales typically is using things like Sales Navigator and tools like that. Salespeople are using the traditional sales tools of outreach. And the CXC is the Customer Experience Center, and what they're doing is they're using all the publicly available social data that everyone is spewing out, including people who buy B2B software, and using that to engage. So that engagement process is essentially, primarily, you've got a kind of a social selling and sort of public social connection, and then that nurtures the account. And the core of this, and this is where flipping the funnel is really important, is that when you do 1 million emails and hope to trick some people to clicking, it's very generic, which is why it doesn't work very well. When you're just targeting the 100 people at the very end, which is flipping the funnel, I don't need to target the 1 million to get 100. Why don't I just start with the 100 I want to talk to? But when I talk to them at a much, much higher value level. Very, very highly personalized content, very, very in touch with what they care about, and connected to their sort of likes and desires. And so this kind of creates a handshake, and I'll show you some examples, and then we qualify it and sell it and close a deal. It's an amazing process because it recognizes kind of a core normal human behavior, which is human beings like to talk to human beings. Weird, right? Okay? We like to talk to other people. We like to be connected personally. When you're all meeting people today and yesterday and tomorrow, you're not going up and saying, hey, I got a white paper for you to read. Download my stuff, buy my product. And no one's saying that. You're like, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What's your family like? We're finding connections with each other and then using those to sort of create connectivity into business. And so this is an example of the CMO of Sonos went to Lyft. And what we did is we sent her a congratulations just for her her name on it, super highly personalized. She liked that, replied to it. Also, the people who liked her retweet, that sort of helps us form the buying committee, because you see the people on her team. CMO of MasterCard won an award, sent him a highly personalized piece of content. He liked it, commented on it, quote, retweeted it. Again, the people that clicked on that helped us see their buying committee. This is someone we've been trying to get in touch with for almost 2 years, had ignored every email, ignored every sort of outreach. He posted something about a conference he'd attended and an idea he had. We turned that into this kind of cool GIF, sent it back to him. His reply to us was, okay, fine, I'll talk to you now. I'll talk to you now. I'll talk to Jake. Okay, and we actually closed that deal. But it didn't start, you notice all these things we're not saying buy Sprinklr. This is someone from World Wrestling Entertainment, talked about Bowlies, sent him a Bowlie GIF that turned into a really interesting engagement because we talk about the things that he liked to talk about. And people like to talk about things that are not just work. One of my favorite examples is we've been trying for a long time to get Burger King to be a customer because our Location Insights product allows us to track the experience score of any kind of retail establishment. Hotels a lot of our customers are hotels. McDonald's is a customer for 14,000 locations. Burger King would be perfect. And we'd sort of been replying to stuff that he'd been posting, nothing happened. And then he posted this, new menu item, crispy pretzel chicken fries. Crispy pretzel chicken fries. When I tell this story in Europe, they're inevitably horrified. New menu item. And so we thought, let's go get some. So 2 of my experience managers zipped out to Herald Square Burger King and got the very, very first crispy pretzel chicken fries. In fact, so early that the store manager had to intercede because no one even knew they had them. And they came back and they did a boomerang and they said, hey, loving the fries, CMO engaged. Now this started a process of engagement. There's many of them, but here's another one where the king shows up at the so some of the horse races, and so at the Triple Crown, and so he posted that, and we said, hey, this is the Triple Crown we're thinking of, burgers with crowns on them, and goes on and on and on. And we're back and forth, and sometime, and then he had a contest, and my team entered it, and all of this was like no talk of business. It was just engagement. Finally, one of the experience managers, and I'm speaking on good authority that this has nothing to do with the crispy pretzel chicken fries, but she got acute appendicitis. And she had to, I'd have to say this disclaimer, and she had to have an emergency appendectomy. And so she posted that she would be posting for a while. And if you notice, if you look at these posts, you'll notice they're all signed, right? So all the experience managers sign the post, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or wherever we're doing it, they're signed by the people, so you know you're talking to a human being. And her mother came up to her, and she's like, on the couch with, recovering from surgery. And her mom goes, Sammy, did you order something from Burger King? And Sammy's like, no. Firmicado had sent her a box of Burger King swag, including a crispy pretzel chicken fries blanket, as like a get well gift. Like that's the level of connection that starts to happen when you go through this kind of system. And we signed Burger King to a massive deal last December. Okay, like that, and the thing, of course, it turns into business, right? But it turns into business in a really natural human way. I think it's kind of close with customer care. I feel so sorry for her. For customer care. So, customer care was the sort of the second thing we put on the platform. And you notice customer care was the heaviest user of the platform. And what you really have to understand is that care is actually the point of intersection where your best customers are actually coming and talking to you. Care is where the people who actually care about your product have a problem and need to be solved. People talk about care as the new marketing. It really is. And so in the system that we have all the teams inside Sprinklr on one platform. So if my marketing team sees a care issue, they can promote it to the care team. When the care team gets that issue, if it's engineering related, they can send it to the engineering team. If the escalation isn't responded to in 24 hours, Raji's phone rings. The whole system is optimized around making sure that we're caring for the customer. And what you'll see is the separation we've traditionally had between care and marketing and engineering. Those walls go away when you're on one platform. And you are all about now the customer. And when people talk about customer obsession all the time, but you're not really customer obsessed unless the customer is the center of your universe. And the customer can't be the center of the universe unless your universe is rotating around the customer, which is what you need when you have to have the single ID in a single platform. And so, some of the things that happened in the customer team were extraordinary. I mean, the 72% reduction in the time to resolve a case. What I loved is an 86% decrease in the response time from engineering, because we're all on the same platform, and overall, a nice increase in our customer satisfaction scores, and that's what's most important. So anyway, that's my story of customer transformation and digital transformation. I'd like to, I'll be here today and tomorrow. You can hit me on the app if you want. I have a obviously live version of Sprinklr running, and if you want a live demo, I can just flip it open, jump on, and I'll show you how it works. Feel free to just kind of connect with me, and thanks for your time and attention.